Happy Thanksgiving. I am just chilling, getting ready for the day. I'm gonna get to see my daughter. I'm really excited about that. So I thought I would do a little bit of work on the Earth Angel project. Place I'm renting. Had a lot of visitors last night, so a lot of energy. Did not sleep as well as I wish I could have, but it's all right. Been a rough week when it comes to sleep, but that's okay. I'm chilling here with my boy Punchy Toast. There we go. Got some laundry done. Get some laundry done, and I started working on doing a little bit of the Earth Angel project. And I was doing. There's a new podcaster that I like. Her name is Call Me Chris. I've seen her before, but I have so many podcasts that I listen to. And hers was on mind control, MK Ultra. Holy shit, man. I mean, I knew it was bad, but I like posted it on my wall, but damn, like, I knew the government sucked. Just in general, governments are evil. But dude, the US government, like, to literally recruit Nazis to not hold them accountable, first of all, for their crimes, and then use their scientists to conduct human experiments on their own people and their own children. And these experiments were evil. Evil. So fucking cruel. And no accountability. Finally did get exposed, but even then, in typical government fashion, gets whitewashed. Very little accountability. The people that actually performed these horrendous human experiments, knowing what they were doing. I mean, we're talking mothers who had to be potty trained. They didn't even know who their children were after they had gone extensive amount of electrotherapy and LSD drugs that were, and this, we're not talking about a fun little trip. We're talking the kind of amounts that would kill small animals. I mean, just horrible. Come here, Pancho. Come here. So, it was a little dark, I'm not gonna lie. I probably shouldn't have. Now, everything happens for a reason, but man, that one made me sad. But it doesn't surprise me. And it's not surprising to see, like, where our government is at now. Hold on, let me see if I can move this over. Much better. Wouldn't shock me if this shit is still going on, and not just because it's a Trump administration. I mean, I'm sure it happened in the Biden administration, and the things that people can justify. Oh, my handsome boy, look at this handsome boy. Is he not the most handsome boy? I love you. I'm so very thankful for you, my boy. Anyway, so yeah, just really sad. And the lack of accountability. And then the you know, when you give people power, these scientists that just had no, it's like when you're given power, they had no accountability. I mean, they just felt very justified in their cruelty. is very heartbreaking. And the fact that none of these motherfuckers were criminally charged. I think the most one got was a misdemeanor and a $2,000 fine. The head scientist that claims he was just doing his job ended up being some fucking speech therapist, or like just got to go live his life in California and die, you know, supposedly helping children. Like, ugh. I'm really looking forward to the day that this shit can't exist on this plane anymore. And I really do believe that we are coming to an age, and this is what so many people, real, true, kind people, have been praying for, is not just justice, but fairness and empathy, you know? It goes back to that question, you know, where, and I've been there, where you pray and you're like, God, how do you allow this to happen? And God's asking us the same question. How do you are God, how are you allowing this to happen? How are you allowing your officials, these people, to get into power? And so, my prayer is that this shit changes very, very soon. And I do believe it will. I do. I will fight every day of my natural born life so that my daughter never has to, and her children, if she chooses to have them, you know, so that they won't live in a world with leaders that would so quickly sacrifice their life just for the hell of it. I mean, that's literally what these people were doing. And they were targeting the vulnerable, you know, the people that were looking for help, the children that were unclaimed or that were in foster homes or that were indigenous. I mean, it's just fucking cruelty. So yeah, it kind of broke my heart a little, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't want to stay in that place. And, you know, it is part of the Earth Angel Project, which is purely fictional for entertainment purposes only, but sometimes it's not that entertaining because in this earth, I mean, the reason that MK Ultra is important is because there's still forms of it being utilized or trying to be. It's very Stranger Things like, you know what I mean? I do absolutely 100% believe, whether this is fiction or not, I do believe that governments, but especially ours, because we're so fucking arrogant, are conducting experiments on people, voluntary and involuntary, people with certain gifts or that could be a threat. And could you imagine if you really did have intuitive people that could be human lie detectors and verify? I mean, people like Trump would certainly want those people dead because they could tell you where the bodies are and tell you what is true. And, you know, and if they were given a platform or it was proved that they were 100% accurate or 99.9% accurate, you know, people would pay attention. And, you know, their ego couldn't handle that because they think they're almighty God. Not just Trump, I mean, world leaders, religious leaders. If true, intuitive people could tell you the truth about religions who are requiring money for you to go to heaven and exposing how they protect child abusers versus the children. There's a reason why they do that. Because their demigod, their demiurge, requires child sacrifice. And sacrifice doesn't always, I mean, sometimes it's better that they live and live a very tortured life than actually killing them. And that's what a lot of children have gone through. When the churches, when the institutions should have protected them. But they didn't. And their families went to the churches to try and get protection. No, not to the cops. They went straight to the churches, like in my case. And no charges were ever pressed. Abuse in many cases still continued. And, you know, here I am at 51 years old, still, it still impacts me. Has it had an impact on my relationships and my self-worth? 100%. So, this project, as fun as it is and as silly as it may seem to others, is actually really important because it's helped me to face a lot of wounds that I didn't want to face for a long time. It's helping me to heal them. And I have had to isolate. I've separated myself from my family. And that's okay to do. I want anyone to know that when they go on their spiritual journey, that it is imperative to, I mean, at least for my journey it was, to kind of separate myself from relationships and families, just so that I could heal on my own. I mean, it's so hard to heal when you have family members or friends that, intentional or not, could be picking at your scab, you know, and it's hard to heal when you're around people that demand so much from you or don't understand your journey, and so they question it and they make you feel guilty for doing things the way you're doing it. So I chose to isolate myself when I needed help the most this last 2 years, and I really needed help, and no one stepped up to help. I decided to go ahead and just isolate myself and really lean into, well, I have my Panchitos with me, but lean into my higher power, lean into my intuition, and I'm so grateful that I did. I really am. I didn't have other opinions telling me that I was wrong or that I was crazy. And that's what started this project, so I am very grateful for that. But yeah, sometimes it's lonely. And hopefully, though, not hopefully, I know it'll be worth it. I do feel like part of it is starting to wrap up the isolation part, I mean, I'll always be healing. I'll always be working on my personal progress, but you know, I've really learned to embrace who I am, who my gifts, and you know what I want to be when I grow up. And I know that since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to help people. I wanted to either be a teacher, I wanted to be a therapist, but I also knew as an empath, like, I didn't know if I could be a therapist, because I know, even as a young kid, I knew how I absorbed other people's pain. And until I could learn to regulate that or keep myself protected, you know, that wasn't probably the healthiest field for me. I probably, you know, self-eliminate because it's so heavy sometimes. So I fell into the rat race and just made money and went into call centers. But I don't regret that either. I got to travel to India. I got to travel to the Philippines. I got to travel all over the world. I got to develop leaders. I got to meet incredible people. But I am ready for this next chapter in my life. And I think it has a lot to do with healing. And right now, as much as, I do love where I work. The job, it's all right. Physically, it's my hands are killing me, but it's where I need to be right now as I heal spiritually, right, Panchitos? And prepare for the next part of my life, because I do believe it involves healing and helping others and sharing my testimony and helping to find a new spiritual revolution, more like a spiritual recovery. I've been in addiction recovery and so forth, and the last 2 years, hold on. Wakey, wakey. Sorry. So anyway, it's my ride. I won't be able to talk long. I better wrap it up. But I am grateful. Very, very grateful. And I better get working on my food in just a little. And I am looking forward to the next chapter of my Okay. So, I was thinking, no, think about it another time. Let me go ahead and wrap this up. So let's go on to a new earth. I'm going to read a little bit of this, and maybe tonight when I get back, I will do some more. So we talked about spiritual realization. Beyond the ego, your true identity. And now we are at all structures are unstable. Whatever form it takes, the unconscious drive behind ego is to strengthen the image of who I think I am, the phantom self that came into existence when thought, a great blessing as well as a great curse, began to take over and obscured the simple yet profound joy of connectedness with being the source of God. Whatever behavior the ego manifests, the hidden motivating force is always the same. The need to stand out. Be special, be in control, the need for power, for attention, for more. And of course, the need to feel a sense of separation. That is to say, the need for opposition, enemies. The ego always wants something from other people or situations. That is always a hidden agenda. There is always a hidden agenda, always a sense of not enough yet, of insufficiency and the lack that needs to be filled. It uses people and situations to get what it wants, and even when it succeeds, it is never satisfied for long. Bucket with holes. Often it is thwarted in its aims And for the most part, the gap between I want and what is becomes a constant source of upset and anguish. The famous and now classic pop song, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, is the song of the ego. The underlying emotion that governs all the activity of the ego is fear. The fear of being nobody, the fear of non-existence, the fear of death. I was listening to someone talk about Trump and his analysis, and his biggest fear is not being relevant. And that's what he needs to be made. And not out of cruelty, part of Quinn kind of deserves it. But if he is ever to be humbled or to change, it would take that, his biggest fear, to come true. And that's what's is going to happen. I promise you that is exactly what's going to happen. All right. All its activities are ultimately designed to eliminate this fear, but the most the ego can ever do is cover it up temporarily with an intimate relationship, a new possession, or winning at this or that. Illusion will never satisfy you. Only the truth of who you are, if realized, will set you free. Why fear? Because the ego arises by identification with form, and deep down it knows that no forms are permanent, that they are all fleeting. So there is always a sense of insecurity around the ego, even if on the outside it appears confident. As I was walking with a friend through a beautiful nature reserve near Malibu in California, we came upon the ruins of what had been once a country house, destroyed by a fire several decades ago. As we approached the property, long overgrown with trees and all kinds of magnificent plants, there was a sign by the side of the trail put up there by the park authorities. It read, "Danger, all structures are unstable." I said to my friend, that is a profound sutra, sacred scripture. And we stood there in awe. Once you realize and accept that all structures, forms, are unstable, even the seemingly solid material ones, peace arises within you. This is because the recognition of the impermanence of all forms awakens you to the dimension of the formless within yourself, and which is beyond death. Jesus called it eternal life. The ego's need to feel superior. There are many subtle but easily overlooked forms of ego that you may observe in other people, and more importantly in yourself. I was thinking of MK Ultra and why they did this to people, and why, like, the US took on these horrible scientists, Nazi scientists, and it was for this superiority. Anyway, remember, the moment you become aware of the ego in yourself, that emerging awareness is who you are beyond ego, the deeper I. The recognition of the false is already the arising of the real. For example, you're about to tell someone the news of what happened. Guess what? You don't know yet? Let me tell you. You're la vie. If you are alert enough, present enough, you may be able to detect a momentary sense of satisfaction within yourself just before imparting the news. That's so true. Even if it's bad news. It's due to the fact that for a brief moment there is, in the eyes of the ego, an imbalance in your favor between you and the other person. Wow, this is so true. For that brief moment, you know more than the other. The satisfaction that you feel is of the ego, and it is derived from feeling a stronger sense of self relative to the other person. Even if he or she is the president or the pope, you feel superior in that moment because you know more. Many people are addicted to gossiping partly for this reason. In addition, gossiping often carries an element of malicious criticism and judgment of others. And so it strengthens the ego through the implied but imagined moral superiority that is there whenever you apply a negative judgment to anyone. If someone has more, knows more, or can do more, the ego feels threatened because the feeling of less, diminished, is imagined sense of self relative to the other. It may then try to restore itself by somehow diminishing, criticizing, or belittling the value of other people's possessions, knowledge, or abilities. Or the ego may shift into strategy, and instead of competing with the other person, it will enhance itself by associating with that person if he or she is important in the eyes of others. Ego and fame. Okay, we're almost done. The well-known phenomena of name dropping. The casual mention of who you know is part of the ego's strategy of gaining a superior identity in the eyes of others, and therefore in its own eyes through association with someone, quote, important. The bane of being famous in this world is that who you are becomes totally obscured by a collective mental image. Most people you meet want to enhance their identity, the mental image of who they are, through association with you. They themselves may not know that they are not interested in you at all, but only in strengthening their ultimately fictitious sense of self. They believe that through you, they can become more. They are looking to complete themselves through you, or rather through the mental image that they have of you as a famous person, a larger-than-life collective conceptual identity. The absurd over-evaluation of fame is just one of the many manifestations of egoic madness in our world. Some famous people fall into the same error and identify with the collective fiction, the image people and the media have created of them, and they begin to actually see themselves as superior to ordinary mortals. And as a result, they become more and more alienated from themselves and others, more and more unhappy, more and more dependent on their continuing popularity. Surrounded only by people who feed their inflated self-image, they become incapable of genuine relationships. Come on. Okay. Albert Einstein, who is admired as almost superhuman and whose fate it was to become one of the most famous people on the planet, never identified with the image of the collective mind that the collective mind had created of him. He remained humble, egoless. In fact, he spoke of a grotesque contradiction between what people considered to be my achievements and abilities and the reality of who I am and what I'm capable of. This is why it's hard for a famous person to be in a genuine relationship with others. A genuine relationship is one that is not dominated by the ego with its image-making and self-seeking. In a genuine relationship, there is an outward flow of open, alert attention towards the other person in which there is no wanting whatsoever. That alert attention is presence. It is the prerequisite for any authentic relationship. The ego always either wants something, or if it believes there is nothing to get from the other, it is in a state of utter indifference. It doesn't care about you. And so the three predominant states of egoic relationships are wanting, thwarting wanting, anger, resentment, blaming, complaining, and indifference. Chapter 4, replaying the many faces of the ego. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to try and read something a little bit more positive. Go to my light is the new black. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter one. I got to get. Okay. Random one. Okay. Forge, don't flow. Please help me, Lord. You are like no other in this town, city, country, continent, planet, solar system, galaxy, universe, multiverse, and beyond. Way beyond. Through all the dimensions of space and time there is, never has been, and never will be anyone quite like you. Not even close. Your hair color, your upbringing, your highs and your lows, your accent, your nature, and all the lessons you've learned along the way, your body size, your skin color, and all the learning from the lives that your soul has swum through before. You are a glorious tapestry that is being woven with every new breath, evolving with every thought and every act and every moment. Now, now, now. In the entire existence of all the humans that ever were and ever will be, none will come close to possessing the same combination of amazingness that you have right now. You are the gift. You are the light. It's in you that lights up the world. Be like no other. Be you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I may be back later this evening. If anyone is watching this, thank you for being a part of my spiritual journey. I am thankful for you. You. I'm thankful for my panchitos. I'm thankful for my little family. I'm grateful for this earthly experience in Earth School. And I hope you have a wonderful day.